All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I hope this makes fluff tube. We've been talking off, when we weren't recording, we've been talking about a few things of what we can say, what we can't say. Everyone knows I got a strike. So I got to be real careful. I got to tiptoe around everything on this communist platform. I'm with Dr. Lynn Lafferty, a doctor of pharmacy and licensed pharmacist, naturopath, herbalist, a nutritionist, and chef who is committed to finding the safest and most effective means to promote health and wellness over disease and illness. She is an endowed professor at Nova Southeastern University and teaches in the pharmacy of medical schools. So she teaches mostly herbal medicine, environmental medicine, nutrition, and functional approach to healing. So welcome, Dr. Lynn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be with you. I love your show.
It's crazy. It's a crazy show. No, but I try to get the best guests and I try to find a solution to the problems plaguing America right now. And I think in the health industry, I'm big on that. I'm real big in the health industry, and I want to bring people that can solve problems. And you're one of the people that was recommended to me. So thank you. Honestly, thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure. I teach young people all day long, and I love it. And I'm very blessed that a very old chancellor, he's 86 now, brought me in as an endowed professor because I'm really outside the box for most of those people.
So where can we get started here? Where do you want to start? I know there's some words we have to tiptoe around. We can't say, everyone knows what the boogeyman is when I talk about that. I had a doctor on just recently saying that the source came from the water. I have different outlooks and different perspectives on my show. I welcome everybody. What's your thoughts on that? I don't know if you watched that. It was I don't even want to say his name because it's YouTube. But he was talking about
I watched parts of that, and I know that I knew somebody who had there's venoms and other things that have been used for years in medicine. So I don't know. I there's things sometimes in the alternative world that just really aren't true too. So I always go to the medical library and I look up the research, and there is so many things in research that's right there in front of our faces, we're the students today aren't taught to look at that. So I remember when I was at Medical College of Georgia, and this is 1980, that we saw a pancreatic cancer case, and they go, "Oh my goodness, you'll never see this again. It's so rare. It's only in severe alcoholics." Of course, today it's one of the top cancers. But at that time, you never saw it. And so what they had us do is they say, on Friday, we have something called Journal Club. And they would say, go to the medical library and go look up what's the latest thing on this disease. And you would have a discussion, like a logical discussion about that. They don't even have that in medical school today. As a matter of fact, most medical schools, they've taken out physiology, which is the study of how the human body works. So why would a doctor need to know how the human body works?
They're basically taught what to think, not how to think. That's
exactly.
They're taught
or not to think.
Right.
Not to
follow
think.
The government guidelines. You're taught what to think, the protocols, not how to think.
Right.
Don't think outside the box. Don't think quick on your feet. Just think. They just tell you what to do and how, and not how to do it. Well, right. You get what I'm saying? Like they don't. They're not expanding the mind of these doctors. They're not having them do their own research and question things. They're just being told.
Right. I have a website for doctors and pharmacists and nurses and things to, and I mostly have older physicians. Also I have free webinars on the immune system, on integrative medicine at Dr. Lynn Lafferty, drlynlafferty.com. And I'm really trying to rally these older physicians because they don't, even my friend at the medical school who's, in her late 60s, and she's really brilliant. She says, oh, no, medical students learn this or they learn that. No, they don't, and so I started this website because I had so many resident physicians saying we don't know much about older drugs or anything. And we saw these things repurposed during the boogeyman, and they're more than effective, And, by the way, they're 23 cents. So just so you know, the pricing of that.
When you talk to like doctors and general practitioners, any kind of doctor, really, they always write homeopathic doctor's office like quacks. Oh, I don't want to hear that, or I have no interest in that. Yeah, it could work. I mean, yeah, of course it's good for you, but you got to take this medicine. They're set on the rigid rules and guidelines of like the CDC, the WHO. You know what I mean? They're set on that. They prescribe the medicine they're supposed to be prescribed, and if you go anywhere outside of that, they write it off as like conspiracy or quack. And how do you feel about that?
It's absolutely repugnant. I'm in Florida. We didn't have that, thank goodness. And my set of doctors, they all did the right thing for people. A matter of fact, during this boogeyman, I don't know if we said a joke. I have she's in the book, 100 Best Doctors in America. And she used more of the drugs and I used more of the herbals, and we were arguing who got people over it quicker, So yeah, we didn't have anybody go in the hospital or anything. So we're very blessed there. And what I did at the beginning of this, so my grandmother was part Native American and had a 150-acre farm near the Finger Lakes in upstate New York. And I remember her when we were walking telling about the 1920 flu. And while my great grandmother had come from Italy to Buffalo, she actually died from that. But then my grandmother on the farm, who's like 50 miles away, we were near her elderberries, and she said we just use elderberries. So what I did is I went to the medical library and I put in the term of what it was with the elderberry. And there was a study from 2000, and it was published in 2017, where this had broken out, not the exact same thing, but even a more deadly strain had broken out in the nursing home. And in 5 days, when they used the elderberry, which was extracted in alcohol, they had everyone was better, and no one went to the hospital or died in the nursing home. So I got that.
That's
elderberry. Yeah, elderberry. And so that's what I made for my people, along with immune builders. So and the immune builders are things like the different types of mushrooms. We have a product that's made of all mushroom formula. We have one that's made of animal tissue. And that's something I use a lot of in very funny, interesting ways. I get very weird cases because a lot of people come to me who have been to the Harvards and the John Hopkins and the Mayo Clinics, and they're just told more of the same thing. And so they're like, they've got nothing for me. What might you have for me? So, and I'll tell you a very interesting case if I can, because everything is in the medical library. You have to, I pound this home. I just have to teach you how to think about it and how to use it. So a young man from our university called, he's 32, he just had a little baby, and he says, I have tuberous sclerosis type 2, and I get seizures all the time, but the medicine is making me listen to devil music and I'm angry all the time. Whoa. I said, oh yeah, that one is really bad. And he said, do you have something natural for that? And I said, yeah, we do. Because actually that's how CBD originally got approved across the states, where it was for seizures. I said, we have something for that. I said, but I don't know really what that is, but I'll find out before you get here. So I find out they get little like potatoes, like tubers in their brain. And then over time, it's a genetic disorder and it turns to cancer. And so he said, I just want to live and see my little girl grow up to graduate. So, that really tugs at your heartstrings. You want to do all you can. So I asked the residents to go and find out what protein, because usually when you have a genetic disease, it's because the protein isn't being made properly, and it's called tuberlin. So then I said, well, go back and find out if there's tuberlin in a plant or in an animal tissue. And believe it or not, it's very high in pig brain. And I said to my students, well, guess what Dr. Lafferty has? I happen to have pig brain tablets.
No.
Yeah, so I've given him the pig brain, and I've given him some other things, a few other things, like hemp complex and some turmeric and another herb that makes it go to the brain better.
Would all that help
Anyway, he
with?
hasn't had one seizure, and after 3 years, and he just had an MRI. And I was hoping those little tubers had shrunk. They haven't shrunk, but not anything got bigger, which is really was a surprise to his doctor. So it's that kind of thinking. And I have to thank my physiology professor when I was in pharmacy school, because she flunked a third of the class, but she really taught you the body is brilliant, and whatever it's doing, it's brilliant. And what I see, it's the way one or two people interpret what's going on is what the problem is. It's not, the body's not the problem. It's who's interpreting it and how are they interpreting. Like, cholesterol bad, let's get rid of it. Well, cholesterol makes all of your cell membrane and all your hormones. So cholesterol is really good. You want to have cholesterol. So now
I'm wondering about I've been told CTE. I have a lot of friends. When you were just talking about the brain, I wonder if those pig brain tablets would help people with CTE or cognitive dysfunction, because
they do.
Because I've also been told to microdose with mushrooms, and I've been doing that. I go to Whole Foods and I buy the turkey tail, the lion's mane, a few other type of the mushrooms. I've been microdosing with those. I think I feel a little better. But what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on microdosing mushrooms? What's your thoughts on CTE? Can you help it? Can you cure it?
Well, I think that first of all, the body is a machine. Okay. And if you know a car probably or whatever, and when you have it in where the bolts are all perfect and you're giving it the right oil and the right gas and everything, it just runs perfectly. And when you don't take care of it, it doesn't run perfectly. So, and if you have somebody and I've had this happen before, if you have somebody at the garage who really doesn't know how to fix something, or they put something in wrong, it's all screwed up. So what they're thinking isn't right. I don't microdose mushrooms, and I don't know what the research shows on that. So I don't know. I know mushrooms are very good. I mean, there's lots of information in the C word that they've been used, and also they're really powerful immune builders. But also, I like using immune builders that have like the thymus tissue. So thymus makes T killer cells, and they go after all the different, microbes and the C and everything. And they've done a lot of research on that in, I think it's either Poland or Czech, somewhere in Eastern Europe. And it shows it increases the amount of T killer cells in your body. So I like that. Spleen is a precursor to your immune system and also to your bone growth. So you can make bones grow faster if you give spleen. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And all this was used for hundreds of years. And my doctor, when I was a kid, was so old. He had Sigmund Freud as a professor.
Oh, wow.
That's how old he was. He was like 85 in 1965 or whatever.
So what can you tell, folks out there who may be battling from anxiety, PTSD? I have bad PTSD. And I know that when I was drinking, you go to drink because you feel like that calms it down while you're drinking. You just want to forget about it. And when you're drinking, it just, in the moment, it handles everything. It feels like it cures the PTSD. You feel great. But the next day and the weeks after, I feel terrible when I'm drinking. That's why I'm 2 years and 4 months sober now. The drinking really took care of a big, I'd say about 40 to 50% of the PTSD, but I still have it. What else could I do, or could you recommend to the folks out there who are battling from PTSD and anxiety?
Yeah, I'm actually working, not right now, just helping out an investment banker who has PTSD from a war. And he has an investment banking, he's a disabled vet. And our whole thing is to put together a clinic for brain restoration. So what you want to do is, first of all, repair tissue. So I'm sure as a prize fighter, your head got hit a lot. And so we need to make sure that you have the right nutrition. Now, back with the old herbal medicine, there's something called doctrine of signature. So for instance, a walnut looks just like a brain, right? When you look at it, it's got the folds, and when you open it up and everything. And walnuts are, I think, the highest in DHA. It's a type of omega-3 fatty acid. There's probably 5,000 studies or more in the library of children that have low DHA or adults or, anything. It improves cognition right away. So anything light that looks like it, or like kidney beans, there's a study in the library showing it helps your kidneys. So
crazy. So they look just like the organ they help.
Yeah.
So
tomatoes look like a heart. It's very high in lycopene.
So like for me, eat a lot of walnuts to help my brain.
Eat walnuts and pig brain, but better than eating it. They used to eat all
Where do I
this.
get pig brain besides?
Go to a farmer. But we have pig brain. I can get you pig brain tablets. It's a little probably easier to eat. But, we used to eat all these organs, and so they're going to have all the nutrition that you need. So for instance, B12, okay, there's 4, first of all, it has to be methylated in the body. So, and 25% of people don't even do that. But there's a different B12 that's used in the heart than there is in the brain, So if I take a heart tissue tablet, I'm going to get that kind of B12 because the cow or the pig or whatever, the lamb, it's going to make it for me. So, so that's one thing. One of the components is going to be clinical nutrition, environmental medicine, to make sure these heavy metals, for instance, are very implicated in brain things like aluminum and other things. So you can get a hair test. You can send it for $99. I don't know which one. There's a bunch of them, but I think there's only one or two labs that do the test, but there's many places that sell it. And you can see if you have a heavy metal toxicity. People that use a lot of their phone by their ear can be very toxic in cadmium. People, if they eat a lot of sushi, can be very toxic in mercury.
Really? Sushi has a lot of mercury. I've heard that.
Right.
Like you should stay away from that.
Yeah. Yes. Or you can do what they call chelation. So what that does, it grabs the metal and it takes it out into the kidneys. I recommend doing that via suppository because I've seen, again, chelation is really good. If a doctor doesn't know what they're doing and does it IV, they can shut your kidneys down. I saw that happen once. So, are you a big believer in chemtrails? Do you believe that they're spraying us with metals? I've seen a lot of things in the air. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm 100% on board with that. I've talked to many people that have come on the show that are very concerned about what's happening in the atmosphere with the planes. And I'm a big believer in it. I was just wondering where you stand on that. Yeah. Well, yeah, my brother and my family I have a lot of family members that are like organic farmers. So yeah. Yeah. What about, so let's go to the back to the boogeyman. And what did you find, what in your mind cured it with your patients, or what path did you set them on to get to fix that problem? Well, the body, first of all, the body cures itself. I don't cure anybody. I know what your body needs. And anybody, I showed one of the physicians and I showed him probably 50 studies. Anybody that's ever died of any infection in the hospital, any infection, was low in vitamin D. So that's like number one. Number two, and I've always known this because there's products that I love that are OTC that taste like candy, actually, that are suckable, zinc. But zinc, you can even feel it when you take one of those zinc lozenges, how it kind of dries you up and everything. It puts like a Teflon coating because they have to dive into the mucous membrane. So it does that. And then there's 5 different ways that it can block replication. So Those were two of the biggest things. And then vitamin C. And then I put the people on the immune builders, especially the one that had the animal tissues. Well, it's got calcium plus calcium. Calcium is the igniter of the immune system. So it's important to have calcium. So this one has calcium, mushroom, spleen, and thymus, I believe, in it.
We're like going really light on the surface here. I would like, you want this to go on YouTube, and I understand that, but I would really like to dive deeper into what the hospitals are doing and things like that. I don't know if you're
maybe you can put the first hour on.
I mean, it's just, no, I mean, because this goes so deep, and for me to just dance around and not be able to dive too deep into the topics, I feel like I'm doing injustice to the audience.
Well, let me say what my friend told me. He said, he came in and he told me, because he's the head of a bunch of residents at our hospital here. And he said, because of you, no one died. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, this was a year and a half after I told him. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, you show me those studies. He said, I had every doctor under me on our service put everybody on vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D, and no one died.
I believe it. I mean, I got.
And he said, by the way, no one died at all until they took the H away.
Yeah. I loaded up on that, but I know a lot of people died when they went to the hospital and they got hooked up to the ventilator, and then they gave them, that drug. So, gosh, I mean, I hate this. I hate having to just dance around everything, but it's, it is.
You know what? It's okay, because honestly, to me, I'm sorry, I'll do another show just on this and not worry about it. But I want everyone that's out there to know, first of all, I'm a very spiritual person. And if you look in the Bible, for instance, all throughout it, it says God will heal you. All throughout the Bible, and ask and you shall receive. If you believe it, you can receive it, and you open yourself up to that. And I can only tell you time and time again how many times, and sometimes I'll just even hear. So a patient will walk in and say, oh, I went to the doctor 5 times. They're giving me these food allergy tests. It helps for a day. And then in my head, it goes, oh, you've got H. pylori. And I just say, I think you might have H. pylori. You might want to go to the doctor. And of course, the doctor goes, what kind of doctor told you to order that? She said, a very good one. And she came back, and guess what? All of her tests were fine except H. pylori. And I said to the student, what would have happened to that patient if they hadn't have gotten that test? What would the doctor say? You're nuts. It's all in your head. Here, let me give you an antidepressant. And it's so stupid, because if this doctor looked at the medical literature, he'd find out 50% of the world has H. pylori. It's the number one cause of gastric cancer. I mean, on and on and on. And the wonderful thing, so then she said, I've decided I'm going to take the prescriptions he's given me, and they're not good. And I called my boss, who is the older doctor I talked about. And I said, what am I going to do? She goes, she said, let her take those. She'll call you within 24 hours asking for something else. And she did. And it was resolved. Manuka honey, the natural antibiotics work so much better for the GI tract. Things like licorice root, oregano oil, grapefruit seed, many.
You talk to my parents, and they're in their 80s, and I cannot get them off their medicine. It's like they have a bag. Both of them have a bag full of medicine they take. One counteracts this one fixes that side effect. That one fixes this side effect because of that medicine gives this side effect. And they have a bag each of medicine. I wish I could get them off this, but there's no telling them anything at their age. Doctors know what they're talking about. That's it. They have to be an MD. That's it. And their family doctor constantly is prescribing them medicine after medicine after medicine after medicine. And, I know how doctors get paid. I know how this works. I know how the industry works. And it sickens me. It makes me so
Can I just say something? Doctors don't get paid for that. Like the guy with the pig brain tail, he's like, I went to the number one person in the country. Why didn't he tell me this? I go, well, he's number one. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, he's number one in the country. Why would he look up something different in the medical library? I mean, everybody's coming to him to ask what to do. So he's the arbitrator of what to do. And that's how really it goes. The arbitrator of I'm the best in the country tells 10 others, and then those 10 are the second best in the country. So they tell 20 others. And that's really how it goes. They aren't making the money. I mean, they used to go on trips and stuff with the pharmaceutical companies, but for the most part, they don't have that anymore. And a lot of them, especially I have to say women physicians, because they're more likely to be outside the box. I think mostly because with our menstrual cycle, like if you have a hot flash or you've got cramps, you could care less if it's got some placebo controlled study. If black currant seed oil, which by the way, women listening, if you have cramps is like the best thing ever. And you have to take it every day, but you won't believe it. I wish I had it as a kid. I love giving that to my young co-ed students because I had such bad cramps as a kid. But anyway, women are like, I don't care what it is, if it's iodine or what, just give it to me and I'm happy. So they're a little bit more open-minded, not all of them. And there's some men that are more open-minded, but I think women, they just want a solution to it because our bodies are different than that.
It says here that you used to work for 15 years with gang members and drug dealers in Oakland, Los Angeles, helping them to learn the economics of drug dealing and how to handle their PTSD and stress. What is that about? What are you talking about? Used to help.
You know what? As a matter of fact, one of them became a well-known rapper, and his sister is one of the most famous singers in the world. And yeah. His name is Sean Cole, and his sister is Keisha Cole. And as a matter of fact, the principal said she was going to erect a statue of the two of us because I wouldn't let him quit school until he graduated. But I had so much fun. And and you know what I did? I used to teach math in high school and college. So I went to tutor them in math at the juvenile hall in San Francisco, and they were all dealing drugs. So I had them do a return on investment on their drug dealing business. And it's not like any of them said, oh, I'm saving to go to Stanford so I can become an investment banker or something, because they don't know those things, and they're extraordinarily bright. So I just like working with smart people.
So you were showing them the long-term effects of drug dealing, basically.
Yeah.
So what would happen? Like what's going to happen?
And I used to have this wheel, right? You get caught, you get put in jail. And then it's interesting. So I did a study, and I'll let you guess. I was at the Alameda County Juvenile Hall. So they're in juvie. And then at another school in Oakland, in the Fruitvale district, which you've heard of Fruitvale, that movie. And so I gave them what they call a Hamilton anxiety score. So which group do you think had higher anxiety, the ones in juvenile hall or the ones out of juvenile hall in Fruitvale?
I would say the ones, okay, I'm going to say out.
Yes, much more. And I listened to the student because he said, I could get marijuana in jail here, but I don't feel like I need it. And that's the whole thing with substance abuse. It's, and that's what I want to tell everybody that has any of this. It's the worst thing is, again, the messages are sent out. You're a bad person. No, you're not a bad person. Your brain's out of balance. Your neurotransmitters, your fatty acids, all these things are out of balance in your brain, So it's not like anybody before was teaching them. I taught them how to meditate, yoga, prayer, exercise, and then how do you feel after that? Because look, none of these street drugs would work if you didn't have something that looked like it inside your body, because there's a receptor there that takes that drug in. Drugs are usually more potent. They may or may not be more powerful, but than like a natural thing. But so it's because your brain and your neurochemicals are out of balance. There's nothing moralistic about this, It may make you do things that aren't so moral if you're high or something, but there's the disease itself or the issue itself, the imbalance is real. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with that.
What's your thoughts on psychedelics?
Well, you have your own psychedelic. You get it from 3 to 4 a.m. It's called DMT. Your melatonin turns into dimethyltryptamine at about 3 a.m. And if you notice, a lot of the great, like, for instance, I used to do Kundalini yoga that was run by the Sikhs, and they get up at 4 a.m. to pray. So a lot of these old religions and mystical branches of them, because that's a type of Hinduism, they actually get up and pray then to hit that DMT wave. I do a lot of work with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he talks a lot and does a lot of studies on the EEGs while you're meditating and those types of things.
I've always, it's no secret, my audience knows me, but I mean, I've experimented with psychedelics, and not all the time. It's just been, here and there throughout the years. And I felt like it's opened doorways for me, and it's caused me to have a breakthrough in certain things in my life. And I'm not going to say it healed or solved anything, but it made me aware that there's so much more out there, if that makes sense. Like it's almost like I ripped through the cosmic fiber of the universe and just saw the inner workings of how this all is put together. And it was absolutely astonishing. And honestly, that's, for me, that was all I needed. That's what I needed to see. And so I have a lot of friends that just want to have that breakthrough. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, anything that, to me, that's not, used over and over again or whatever, so you become like addicted to it, I have to have it, is anything that gets you closer to God, and anything that heals you, and that lets people know, listen, you're a child of God. And to feel, when you get to that space, to the God mind, if you will, to me, you just feel pure love. I can do that just through meditation, but if you need some help, one of the things we've looked at in these brain restorations is doing that. Though I feel like you need to do that with somebody that really knows what they're doing to deprogram maybe some of the mind things that have been implanted in there, because sometimes they're so far rooted that maybe even the subconscious mind doesn't know them.
I've tried to meditate, and I used to be, and believe it or not, when I was boxing, I used to go into the dressing room before a fight, and I would sit quietly, just listen to my music. And it was my form of meditation, where I would just be very, in the corner by myself, just thinking about the fight in my mind, and what I have to do. It was almost like when I was under that extreme pressure, I was able to calm myself. Like I knew I had no choice but to calm myself. But when I'm not under that extreme pressure and the world's just all crazy, I have a hard time calming myself, because there's nothing really making me perform clutch. Like there's nothing that's putting the pressure on me to where I have to go and know that I have to be calm when I go into battle. My mind knew to be calm before I went into every fight. Like your body knows when you're getting ready to go into battle. It's an amazing thing. But like right now, with the world around me, on the noise, all the news I'm getting, all the updates I'm getting, all the intel I'm getting from what's happening behind the scenes and blah, 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 it's constant just bombardment with all this just crud and crap. And I really need to meditate. But every time I try to, it's like the monkey in the cage, right? Like I can't calm my mind. So can you give me some?
One of the things I do, we can do it right now, is just take in a deep breath in your stomach and just release it.
Okay, I have a question though before now I'm doing it.
You don't have to shut your eyes. We're not shutting our eyes.
Okay, well, do I breathe through my nose? Is it important?
Oh, just breathe. You can breathe whatever way you want.
Okay.
Basically, when you put air and you stimulate your stomach, you're activating the vagus nerve, and vagus nerve is rest and digest. So that in itself is somewhat calming biochemically. So just take in a deep breath and let it out. And then just look around the room without thinking. Just look at the different shapes and the sizes and the colors in the room, and just breathe normal. And then, if you will, take another deep breath into your stomach and release it. And now incorporate the sense of sound. Maybe you hear an air conditioner or the wind outside or someone's talking. Just incorporate that, even if it's silence. And take in a deep breath and let it out. And if you would just take and put your hands together, the sense of touch, look around the room, incorporate the sounds, take a deep breath, and come back. So how did that feel?
Much better.
Right.
Much better. And that
so
was
why does that feel better, do you think?
It brought me into the moment.
Right. You're in the present moment. You're not up here, you're out there,
Right.
and you're just noticing things, you know? That's one of the best meditations there is. I mean, people think I'm going to have you sit like this going, oh, no,
Yeah, I thought like there's all these rules to meditation, you know, like you have to
that's like a great meditation.
I thought you have to breathe through your nose out through your mouth, sit in a certain way, line up your chakras. It just sounded like too much.
No, your left foot, it has to be pointed to the east because of part of the way, right?
Yeah, like there's all these rules to it. So I mean, if it's that simple, then yeah, it's just about relaxing your mind and body and paying
it's
attention.
Getting your attention out. And I'll tell you the reason why you were so able to focus, because that's what you were really doing. You were hyper focused, right? And I do that in meditation, and actually Kundalini yoga, they have you do the bow pose, and you just focus on your target. And that's a different kind of meditation. And that's amazing for me for manifesting, because I think it's like the velocity of your emotions times your ability to really just set your attention. So the reason why, though, I was going to tell you this, because this is how I help people. A lot of kids come and adults with ADHD what they use for that is amphetamine. And you have your own natural amphetamine. It's called norepinephrine. So there's epinephrine, which is your adrenaline, for fight or flight. So you're like hyper in your adrenaline state. And so that hits the part of your brain for attention. So you're like able to just hyper focus, right? I'm going to get this guy and whatever. And you're just focusing on that. And it's actually calming because you're so focused. And it's biochemistry.
The friends that I know that take Adderall, they're like, well, yeah, I got to prescribe because I'm ADHD. I'm like, no, you're not. You just like to get high. And I just tell them that all the time. I'm like, come on, you're not, it's legal meth, man. I mean, honestly, listen, who are we kidding here? What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah. Well, my thought is, again, it's why does this person like getting high and this person doesn't? Why does he have to do that and I don't?
So if you truly have ADHD, does it calm you down? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it'll calm you. So if somebody like does coke or amphetamine and they're like balancing their checkbook, right? Then they really are ADHD, that it's really helping them to focus. It's hitting the locus coeruleus in the brain, the attention center in your brain. And you have as a matter of fact, in the medical literature, so it's the norepinephrine that hits it. And it says amphetamines increase the norepinephrine in the brain. So you've got more of the norepinephrine from the amphetamine hitting that attention center. But how do you make your own norepinephrine? Well, you make it, number one, you have to have a good source of protein. You need stomach acid. And a lot of people, they're drinking basic water, or a lot of people don't get enough protein. Mostly people that are drug addicts, they don't get enough protein in their diet. And you have to digest it properly. You have to absorb it. And then you have to have a lot of different B vitamins, especially, but there's also zinc and iron. And there's studies that show with kids, if you give iron, their ADHD score goes down. So they're more calm and focused. Or if you give zinc, or if you give B vitamins, all of those types of things. So you need all those types of things biochemically to make the conversion. But if you eat a steak, guess what? The cow is going to make it all for you. So you got most of those vitamins in there anyway.
So you're a big proponent for meat.
I am a meat eater. Yes. Okay. We're very blessed that our Creator gave us the animals to heal our body.
And yeah, I agree with you. I've had vegans on my show. I try to listen to what they say. I don't like the cruelty to animals part at all. Believe me, I don't like how they treat animals in the slaughter.
Well, you know what? You don't want to eat that meat either, because if you look at grass-fed beef, right? it's got omega-3, the omega-3s are the really good ones in fatty acids. And it's got more omega-3s than fish does because the grass is more of omega-3. Now, if they're standing in a stall eating, voodoo corn or whatever, then they're going to get inflamed themselves. The cow will be inflamed and have all these chemicals within it. And then that inflammation those chemicals are brought to your body.
I know you say that everyone needs their own, like everyone has their own vitamins and nutrients that they need independently. What would you say as a whole for the audience listening? What are like 5 to 10 vitamins and nutrients they should be consistently taking every day?
Well, I have one that I like at our pharmacy. Again, I make no money from it. I'm a professor at the university, so they give me a salary. I don't make anything from my visits or from the supplements, but it's called Catalin, and it's a multivitamin, but it's a whole food multivitamin. So like I said, your body doesn't use folic acid. It uses tetramethylhydrofolate, and 25% of people don't make that very well in America because they have what we call a SNP, which is a genetic thing that it doesn't work quite right. And and I was just looking at this because I'm writing an article about it, like pig liver is very high in this tetrahydromethylfolate. So you get that type of vitamin your body can use in needs right there. You don't have to convert it all. And the vitamins you buy off the shelf, they're the same premise as drugs, because how drugs were made by extracting one piece of a plant. So the first two drugs were aspirin from willow bark and morphine from poppies, right? So they found what they thought was like the strongest component inside of that plant, and then they just use that. But what they miss is a plant. What God does is a symphony. God never, like vitamin C doesn't show up. You'll never find it by ascorbic acid by itself. And as a matter of fact, the man that won the Nobel Prize in the 30s for extracting ascorbic acid out of pepper said it's not going to work very well because it doesn't have its bioflavonoids like a pepper does, or an orange or cherries or whatever that's high in vitamin C. So, and then let's go a step further. The adrenal gland, it takes most of the vitamin C up in the body. Every organ uses more, like your pancreas uses a lot of zinc, your adrenals use a lot of vitamin C. So then what happens if I give you a piece of adrenal tissue, you're going to get another type of complex of vitamin C that will work with your adrenals because it's biochemically been made. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let's say that I've been told that I have adrenal fatigue.
Yes.
From boxing, from everything that I've been through, like I have massive.
I would love to help you with that. On me, I will. If I can help you with that, I would love it. It's one of my favorite.
I don't know what it is. I think it's just I'm so used to the ups and downs from boxing. The high peaks, the low lows, the high peaks, just like a pinball. And I just don't really find excitement in much of anything anymore. I mean, I enjoy doing podcasts. I enjoy certain things, but I don't get real excited about anything anymore. Is that adrenal fatigue?
Again, your adrenals make on one side all your hormones, and on the other side, it makes the adrenaline, the dopamine, which cocaine hits the dopamine. The norepinephrine is a precursor to adrenaline. And when these soldiers get back, kind of like what you're saying, the first thing, if they're over in war, the first thing they buy is a motorcycle so they can get that release of those chemicals and go 130 miles an hour.
I bought a dune buggy. And that's what I do. Yeah.
Right. So the thing is your body's just lacking some chemical, the nutrients it needs. And one of the things, and again, let me say this, in 1980, a lot of these things I'm talking about, like the animal tissue, Lilly Pharmaceuticals made all those products. I mean, I have an old PDR from it's the physician desk reference from 1978. Those are kind of like the Bibles to a doctor and pharmacist. They made all these types of vitamins, Doan's liver pills. They made desiccated adrenal. My doctor used to give us shots of desiccated adrenal. You would beg for a shot. Can I go see Dr. Trinka? I don't feel good. Can I get a shot? And then he'd also give you licorice tablets, they kill the boogeyman. It kills the H. pylori. It kills so many things. Plus, it increases your cortisol in your adrenal gland. And, there's just so many things.
Would we have to say? Could you like write up a prescription for me, or to help me with that?
Yeah. Or you know what else we can do? We can do a saliva test. And we can get a whole picture on what's going on with you, everything. And then we'll rebuild all that.
I'm 100% in, because I really, to be honest with you, I thought it was just the hits to the head, or the adrenal fatigue, the PTSD, all of it in one. I just, and I quit the drinking, and I'm trying to do better in my life and make better in my life, but there's something still there that I need to fix, and I can't figure it out.
You know what it is, when you don't have those chemicals, now you can't really get your attention focused, so then your attention goes all over the place. And with that, you don't feel like productive and things like that. So it's also things I do is help people and change just their thinking, right? And for me, I'm just realizing how much that really starts with God, because when you have that and you say, I'm here for a purpose, like you're doing amazing things for people. So many people you won't ever know, like I said a prayer out one day and said, I wish I could hear from one of the people that I helped like 30 years ago in Oakland. And this young man that I just told you, he's not so young anymore. He wrote me and said, are you the lady that used to help people in Oakland? And I saw how successful he was. And I said, I'm so proud of you, because it's amazing. He came from very, very dire circumstances. So, it's about, we're not made to feel proud. I mean, really proud. I don't mean like a lot of people have fake pride, but like really proud. Like, I'm here on a mission and I'm getting that accomplished. And when we focus our attention on those things, it feels good. Right?
100%. Yeah.
So it's, where are we going to put our attention? That's a whole different class. I can come back.
Yeah, I just don't feel the level of excitement I used to feel. I don't know if that just comes with age, maturing. If just getting older, I don't feel that level of when you look forward to something to do. It's not like what it used to be. I don't know if that's just the shimmer.
Well, now you're in the biggest fight of all time, and
it's not the same as getting in the ring and fighting for your life, literally. I guess I
have somebody I'd like you to punch in the nose.
I don't know.
You feel good about that? No.
I mean, I get up and I go work out every day and I do what I got to do, but I don't have that mission to like get ready to prepare my body for battle. It's not like that anymore. It's just I'm doing it for health, and I don't know. It's just I've kind of lost the zest of all that, and I miss it. But I can't turn back the clock of time. So,
well, I think honestly, we'll do it. Let's do an adrenal test, and it's a saliva test. I can send you the kit, and we'll see where they are. And then afterwards, you'll feel. I will promise you. I'm not going to charge you anything, but I'll give you a money back guarantee.
Okay. No, that works. Dr. Lynn Lafferty, folks. Where can people reach you?
They can reach me. First of all, I have lots of blogs and free things online at DRLYNNLAFFERTY.com. I also have a course there called, it's Becoming Your Own Health Advocate, where it's a 10-session course. And if they want to sign up for that, if they put Nino 20, they get 20% off. So then the class, I think, is $7 or $8 a session for 10 sessions. Plus you get 2 or 3 different books, a book that I put together on vitamins and where they work and what foods. And then we have all these refrigerator lists that are very beautiful, what foods like you can get vitamin D from, or vitamin C. And I also have a book on herbal preparations, and you can make a lot of your own herbal things at home. And I have another book coming out, My Grandma's Favorite Recipes for Life. And those are going to have all some of the things we talked about, but also there's so many things at home. So for instance, and I learned this in pharmacy school, but my grandmothers knew this. Like if you have a child and it gets poisoned, the best thing to do, go and you want to call 911. But while you're waiting for that, go burn a piece of toast, because that burnt is charcoal, and charcoal will absorb that poison. So,
hold on. So I got lost for a second there. Your kids, say that again. Your kids.
Okay. So if somebody ingests poison in the house, like, a kid gets in. Toast? Yeah. Go burn toast.
And give it to him.
Give it to him. Yes.
What about just charcoal tablets? Like,
you could do that too. But I'm saying if you don't, not everybody has charcoal tablets. They're more likely to have a piece of bread, right?
Really?
Or, you can, if your finger gets chopped off, if you can find a spider web, you can put it back on with the spider web.
All right. Well, Dr. Lynn, I appreciate you. It's drlynlafferty.com.
drlynlafferty.com. DR for Dr. Lynn Lafferty.
DRLYNN.
LAFFERTY. And then also you can find me on YouTube making different recipes with different things and having fun with my students and other people. So,
well, I appreciate you coming on, and I think my audience absolutely probably enjoyed this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on YouTube. I'll put it on ninoscorner.tv and YouTube. And thank you for coming on.
It's a blessing, Nino, and I can't wait to work with you. We're going to have fun.
Absolutely. I'll send you a text right now and let's get started. All right. God bless.
God bless you.